Hi, for today's nostalgic ice cream, I've chosen Zap for its sci-fi name. I also matched my makeup to it. That's a very special ice cream. It makes me think of multiple dichotomies inside it. It's toffee flavored, but looks like fruit ice cream. It's sci-fi named, but the formula is from like the 80s most likely. And first and foremost, it's an ice cream which, from what I remember, makes you feel miserable when you eat it.
Intro.
Welcome to this video where I'll be discussing season 3 of Rick and Morty. But before I do it, I'll revisit season 2 ranking, then do a recap for the character development of each of their characters, and then move on to talking about the episodes, and then rank season 3 episodes. So I'll put the timestamps for it in the description box. What am I going to spoil in this video is, again, emotional changes that each character goes through in each episode, but I'm going to avoid any actual spoilers and endings of each episode. I think I'm only going to discuss one ending, but still it's going to be, you'll be able to skip it. I'll give a timestamp when it comes to it. So after I posted my season 2 video, a person on Reddit mentioned that they were surprised that I put episode 10, Wedding Squancher, so high. And right after I published the video, I felt kind of not amazing about the ranking, because in general season 2 feels better for me if I don't overanalyze it. So I decided to fix the ranking, and actually I thought, so here it is, the fixed ranking, and it might look a lot different, but actually only 2 episodes were moved significantly. So episode 7 was moved to place number 6, and episode 10 was moved to place number 9 when it comes to my enjoyment of it. I still stand by its place in the ranking when it comes to character development, but when it comes to how much I like the episode, I just moved them down. And because of that, episodes 4, 5, 2, 6, and 8 moved up by 2 places each in the ranking, and episodes 1, 3, and 9 didn't move at all. So yeah, that's the fixed ranking. The ice cream actually is delicious. I don't know why I thought it tasted very bad. There is a different flavor of Zap, which has blue in it, and it's a new flavor, and that one must have tasted miserable when I last ate it. It was so bad that I wanted to throw it away after one bite. I even offered it to Kira for a lick, so that I won't throw away the whole thing. Just so that she would taste it, but she smelled it and didn't want it, so that's how bad it was. This one though, pretty decent. I'll let you know if I stand by the opinion by the end. And now let me recap what we know about each Smith family member. Let me start with Beth. Beth is egocentric. She's heavily dependent on her father's approval, and because of that, cares about her own well-being over that of her family, because the most important thing for her is approval and attention from Rick. Summer is very similar to Beth when it comes to character. She's Beth's favorite child as well. She matured a lot in season 2 emotionally, has now a deeper understanding of life. Like in this Big Trouble in Little Sanchez, she said that the universe is great and we're all going to die one day. She gets life now a little bit better, but because of the small bonding moments with Rick in season 2, now latched onto him in an unhealthy way, similar to that of her mother's, but she does it in a slightly healthier way, because Beth completely dismisses all of Rick's faults, and Summer acknowledges them, like knows they're there, but still ignores them. So she's not healthy, she's just less toxic. Morty is most aware, I feel, of his own family's dysfunctions. He's not an amazing person, but he's committed to the family and he makes an informed choice to stand by Rick. I think he knows the consequences of it the most. He has quite a bit of a temper, and if you're wondering what he gains from his relationship with Rick, well, he gains validation, I guess, and he has a pretty bad self-esteem, which we're going to explore in this season. So he does need or want, he craves the validation and being important, especially since he's the less favorite child in his household. Rick had a spike of conscience by the end of season 2 and got himself arrested to save his family. He values his intellect as his most important trait and the only one that he derives his self-esteem from. The only thing that matters when he considers himself. He doesn't think that his sense of humor or looks or the way he dresses or being a good friend, none of these things really matter. In most episodes, because his intellect allows him to do things that are extraordinary, he shies away from simple and ordinary and hurts himself in the process and others and just overcomplicates things because he cannot stand the tedium of everyday life. And he seems to care about Morty in an egocentric and egoistic way. He craves Morty's company, which he prefers to loneliness. In general, if Morty's not there, he wants Morty, not somebody else to fill that void. And sometimes he feels good things for Morty, like brief bursts. And with that recap, let me move on to the discussion of the episodes. Episode 1, the Rickshank Redemption. Never mind. The episode has 2 plot lines connected by portal gun. Because the first plot line is Summer and Morty trying to save Rick with the help of the portal gun, and Morty trying to protect Summer from needing Rick and depending on him. And on the other hand, Rick and a Federation bug wander around his mind, which is represented by Shoney's Tavern, because the bug is trying to convince him to give up the formula that makes the portal gun work. Szechuan Sauce makes an appearance, Tommy and Bird Person make an appearance. In general, the episode shows the family struggling to live, the girls struggling to live without Rick, Beth completely broken, Summer proactive and trying to find him, Morty being protective, Jerry being clueless, and Rick being selfish and returning, which prompts Beth to divorce him by the end of the episode. This is not a spoiler, and talking about the divorce is unavoidable because this is the divorce season. Welcome to the saddest season of Rick and Morty, the divorce season. By the way, what I'm doing now is what Rick is doing by the end of the season, which is mirroring the end of the pilot episode where Rick is standing above Morty and talking about how they're going to go on adventures. Morty even is similarly incoherent as he is in the pilot after having consumed a mega seed, but that's just pure shock at Rick's comeback and what he's saying. This episode is kind of okay. It's not my favorite. So the ice cream was actually delicious. Never mind what I said about it before. I shouldn't have bashed this up. Love it. Episode 2 is Rick Mansing the Stone. Episode is focused 95% on Rick, Summer, and Morty, who visit a post-apocalyptic Mad Max-inspired version of Earth to supposedly retrieve a piece of a special stone hidden in that world. But actually, they all do it to escape the reality of their parents' divorce. Rick can deal with the discomfort and tension in the house, so he comes up with an idea for an adventure as a means of escape. Morty lets out steam by engaging in fights with a helping hand of a dead hand, and Summer has a fling with Buckethead. By the end, Rick doesn't really arrive at any conclusions. He hates being uncomfortable always, especially when it comes to emotions, and just doesn't learn a thing, gets bored, returns home. Morty lets go of the anger. We already seen at this point that Morty is a chill person until pushed to the limit. He has a temper, as I've said. After he blows up, he mellows back out. Summer decides that the best way forward is not to look back. Beth in the background is discombobulated and drinking to quiet her emotions. So actually, her father's return did not really help with her alcoholism because now her husband is gone because she wanted him to be gone. Jerry, we can't see much, but he doesn't seem to be engaging in any sort of destructive behavior. He is portrayed as a loser. We're meant to think he's a loser though. I love the post-apocalyptic version of Earth. It mocks the ridiculousness and campiness of Mad Max world, but in a loving rather than disparaging way. And I love Mad Max Fury Road, to be honest. Don't know about the other ones. There is also a bit of a medieval fantasy twist to the episode too, which is nice. I like this episode. I don't know what, it's not genius or groundbreaking. It's solid when it comes to character work, and the plot is enjoyable, sometimes funny and pretty interesting, which is cool. Episode 3 is, I don't know if not the most iconic and important episode in the history of the show. Pickle Rick. I think it is the fandom favorite. I'll just straight up say it. I used to dislike this episode because I don't get the hype and the humor of Pickle Rick. It just doesn't really do it for me. I don't care about the pickleness of Rick, and because of that, I just disliked the episode because of all the memes and the fandom's attitude. I have to remind you that it was the time where people were having tantrums at McDonald's because they didn't have Szechuan sauce, so you just keep that in mind. In the episode, Beth, Summer and Morty go to school-mandated therapy because Morty peed his pants in class and Summer got high huffing pottery enamel. Rick turns himself into a pickle to avoid that therapy. He doesn't want to go. The family sons Jerry dons their Sunday best and meet with Dr. Wong, a psychologist or a therapist, who stirs the discussion from kids' troubles to the impact that Rick has on the family. The therapy shows that Beth doesn't actually care about kids and is bothered that she has to go. She's angry that she has to be arsed to go to therapy. I think she went because of social expectations and school expectations. Maybe she was legally obliged to go. When it comes to the pickle storyline, Rick does things as a pickle, makes himself a cyborg suit out of rat, hangs out in different places, has adventures, means jaguar, not a jaguar, the jaguar, the jaguar. He escapes the family, the discomfort. And let me just read a quote from Dr. Wong, because I think it just sums up Rick perfectly. Rick, the only connection between your unquestionable intelligence and the sickness destroying your family is that everyone in your family, you included, use intelligence to justify sickness. You seem to alternate between viewing your mind as an unstoppable force and as an inescapable curse. And I think it's because the only truly unapproachable concept for you is that it's your mind within your control. You chose to come here, you chose to talk, to belittle my vocation, just as you chose to become a pickle. You are the master of your universe, and yet you are dripping with rat blood and feces, your enormous brain literally vegetating by your own hand. I have no doubt that you would be bored senseless by therapy, the same way I'm bored when I brush my teeth and wipe my ass, because the thing about repairing, maintaining, and cleaning is it's not an adventure. There's no way to do it so wrong you might die. It's just work. And the bottom line is, some people are okay going to work, and some people would rather die. Each of us gets to choose. That's Rick summed up. And as I mentioned, I used to dislike this episode, but now after analyzing it and some time having passed since the McDonald's tantrums, I like this episode. It's good. Episode 4 is Vindicators III, Return of World Ender. When Rick and Morty receive a second call to action via Vindy Beacon from Vindicators, an intergalactic superhero team, Morty invokes his right to choose 1 in 10 Rick and Morty adventures. When they arrive, it turns out that the Vindicators assembled once before without them because Rick sucks. The Vindicators are the guy, the girl, the other guy, and the bugs and the lizard. And Noob Doob. There were also some other heroes mentioned, such as Lady Katana, Calypso, and Diablo Verde, who sound slightly more interesting. I would have loved them. But I guess the whole point of the lineup of superheroes is that they are kind of lame. No, I take it back. I actually like that they are kind of lame. Episode uses visual references to action and superhero movies, as well as a big reference to a certain huge horror film franchise. So I think the episode is probably also very well liked. I don't know, I'm not going to check the ratings, but because it uses those beloved references a lot and also has Rick being himself a ton, I think it's well liked. You know, himself, absolute asshole, terrible, no good, very bad. Morty is busy this episode hating on Rick because Rick ruins stuff. I'll mention one more thing which can be a clever reference, or maybe I'm just too invested in the show. There is a joke in it which could be a reference to episode 1 of season 3, where because Rick has to transfer to a mind of a bug, he loses his tentative plans to purchase a hat, fear of wicker furniture, his desire to play the trumpet, and 6 years of improv workshops. Comedy comes in threes, and he mentions 4 things. And in this episode, he says, sorry, we can't meet you right now because we have to meet a lady comet, a monorail man, 2 assholes, and a full alligator in like an hour. 2 assholes is like one item in this, and again, he made a joke using 4 elements, like in episode 1, because he no longer remembers that comedy comes in threes, this comedic rule. You know what, I'm just not going to stop digging myself a grave when it comes to nerdiness and Rick and Morty. Never mind. I think this is a solid episode. It doesn't develop the characters much further, but also we don't really need that. It has solid references. It has good jokes, like one-liners and visual gags and other types of comedy. I really like it. It really highlights how Rick is terrible as a person, but also, despite what you might think, I think the episode actually shows that he does care about Morty, not the opposite, though it might seem like it does the opposite. Episode 5 is the Whirly Dirty Conspiracy, which is the Rick and Jerry episode. Morty sends Rick to go on an adventure with Jerry, seemingly to give the latter a win because the divorce is super hard on him. They go to an alien hotel, resort, I don't know, whose gimmick is that you cannot be killed there. Morty stays on Earth with Mom and sister. Mom is drowning her sorrows in alcohol. That's the 3rd time I'm saying this in this video. Well, and Summer suffers from being broken up with, which she decides to fix with a sciencey boob job. So let me discuss characters in this episode. Morty, cool as cucumber. Summer is insecure. Beth is also insecure. They are mirroring each other, but Beth is worse. Keep saying that. Summer is at least proactive. Beth is egocentric, but in this episode she proves that she does care about Summer and is capable of doing something for her. Rick sucks mostly. Jerry gets a character arc from feeling down through accepting his lot in life, through seeking revenge to acceptance again. And the episode highlights his character traits, which are love of Beth, cowardness, neediness, weakness, and refusal to take responsibility for his actions. In my notes, I said that it is a rather solid episode, but I think right now it's okay. It's not the best, it's not the worst. I like how Morty is in the episode. I like that Jerry gets screen time. The best thing about the episode is the broken time montage where Risotto, Groupon, Jerry, and Rick are merging together for an endless epoch. That was pretty good.